Welcome back to Afternoon Break. Well, a Swainsboro High School band member is turning heads with his accomplishments in music. I sat down with the locally acclaimed saxophone player, Jayson Brown, about his journey. Check this out. Jayson Brown, you have been selected as the #1 alto saxophone player in the state. Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Talk about Swainsboro and how that high school music program has shaped your career.
Well, I have to give a lot of credit to my high school band director, Mr. Lindy Sykes. Through marching band, you know, there's a hierarchy with seniors, juniors, then sophomore, then freshmen. Then entering as a freshman is kind of tough when you're expected to play that role as a freshman. So there's a lot of accountability that has to be held. And then growing to become a leader as a senior, he really emphasizes those ideals. So I have to thank him for that.
And you are a first chair, which is an honor. Talk about what that feels like for you.
I still can't believe it, honestly. Back when I was in 8th grade, when I made it for the first time, I was last chair. I was 6th chair in 8th grade. It's usually the bigger schools from Atlanta that get those 1st, 2nd, 3rd chair spots. So being from Swainsboro, which is a rural town in Georgia, is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, and talk about this audition process. So what was it like to be selected as #1? What music did you have to play? Did you have to sight read? What was that like?
They expect you to memorize 12 major scales, and you have to have those memorized. You can't look at them. As well as two sight readings, one lyrical and one technical, which is one slow and one fast. And then you have to play 2 etudes, which is 2 pieces of music. One is slow and then the other one is fast. And there are over 700 high schools that participate, that audition. And there's 2 separate rounds, and you have to clear the first round before you can make the second round. And I made both rounds, and I made the first chair.
Have you always loved music? Have you always loved the saxophone? Where did that begin for you?
I think my passion for music started in church, because my dad, he actually played the keyboard in church, and then my uncle played the drums. So originally I had a love for drums. I wanted to play the drums.
Yeah.
But in 5th grade we had our auditions, and we're not allowed to start on drums, so you have to play an instrument first. So I chose the saxophone, and I just ended up being good at the saxophone, so I just stuck with it.
Now, you have a pretty exciting event coming up. You are going to be playing with the conductor of the United States Air Force. How did that come about, and what does that feel like for you? That's an honor, obviously.
Yes, ma'am. That feels awesome. He's going to be the clinician for the All-State Band, so every student that made All-State is going to be under his baton. So.
Take us through what it's like to be playing in this large band, and obviously you have a conductor. For those who just maybe weren't in band, what is that moment like for you?
Well, with All-State, it's just so many talented musicians all in one building, so you get to feed off of each other's energy, and everything moves so quick, everyone learns so fast, so it's really a great experience.
Would you say that you become a better musician when you're around all these other musicians that are at the top of their level? In terms of college selection, what does your future look like? Do you want to stay in music?
Yes, ma'am. I have plans to study music education. One of my top options is Georgia Southern University. I've also been looking at Columbus State University as well as Georgia College and State.
In terms of a dream job, 10 years from now, what are you doing?
Hopefully I'll be a band director at a high school, maybe even a college. I plan to incorporate some gigs at maybe restaurants or even cruise ships one day. Just making a lot of money.
What would you like your legacy to be if someone's looking up to you?
Remember me as someone that was always a leader, someone that could depend on, someone that led by example, that had high expectations.
It all starts with that first chair.
Yes, ma'am.
And humility. Thank you for coming today.
Looking
forward to hearing you play. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's get it. Such a force. He is going places. You know, you just meet someone and you think, wow, they're so young and there's so much talent just bottled in there that's going to explode.
Oh my gosh. And what's cooler than the saxophone, man? I mean, people who really can play the saxophone like that, they are just, in my opinion, like cooler than cool. They're just like, it's like they match their instrument, just like kind of cool.
Yeah, and he was very laid back, just so chill. And it's funny you brought up the drums, because we used to play the drums.
Yeah.
And so I was a fellow drummer, but he's like, this was a passion I didn't even really know that I had, a skill I didn't know I had, and it's just been unleashed. And I mean, being in band, first chair is such a big deal.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So for being as young as he is, he's got big dreams, big goals, and I can't wait to see how that all works out.
And he presents so much older, mature. I had to ask you, I was like, he's still in high school? Because he just is so well-spoken, clearly has a clear vision.
Of course, and that comes up to parenting, too. His parents were so composed, and, just his sister was there with us, and, really such a talent that we have right here locally.
I think you're right. We'll probably be hearing his name a couple other times down the road.
Sure will, giving back to that musical community. Well, guys, let's take a look outside from the WTO